1960, not positive, might even be 1959, hadn't taken it apart, but pretty sure it's 1960 jazz bass. It was one of the very, very first jazz basses ever made by Fender guitarists. Leo Fender brought this bass to Joe Osborn and gave it to him. At the time, Joe was the bass player on the Ozzie and Harriet show with lead guitarist and friend James Burke. And so they kind of became maybe the first video guitar heroes. They were seen by millions of people every week when they started playing on the Ozzie and Harriet show. The bass is totally original. Joe took off the plate that goes over the bridge, but the electronics and everything are totally all stock. This bass has been on so many hit records. Every single Carpenter's record. Up and Away by the Fifth Dimension, Happy Together by the Turtles, Last Train to Clarksville, the Monkees, Midnight Confessions, the Grassroots, Everybody Loves a Clown, Gary Lewis and the Playboys, California Dreamin' and Monday Monday, the Mamas and the Papas, along with every other Mamas and Papas record, Bridge Over Troubled Water, along with many other Simon and Garfunkel hits. He played on Neil Young's Comes a Time, England Dan and John Ford Coley, Nights Are Forever Without You. Even when Joe moved to Nashville after leaving LA and became a Nashville studio musician, he played on 200 more top 10 country records. One of the biggest was Lucille for Kenny Rogers. So this bass has really, there's hardly anyone that's listened to popular music in the last 40 years that hadn't heard this bass, whether they realized it or not. Joe told me that he didn't change the strings on this bass for 14 years, and it just got such a sound after the strings got deadened, and the sound was on so many hit records that everybody wanted that sound. And so when they would book him on a session, they wanted him and this guitar and whatever made that guitar sound that way. He said he was on a Carpenter's session, which, like I said, he was on all of them, and he had just changed the strings. And Richard Carpenter heard it and went, put the old strings back on. It just had, there was a deadness, there was a certain sound it created that, and even Leland Sklar, another great bass player, gave Joe some of his old used strings trying to help him recreate that sound when the strings that he had finally got to where they just would not tune anymore. And Joe said it just never did sound the same again.
Just like me.